You are a billionaire. This is your Ferrari F40 worth over $2.4 million. But that's not your most expensive car, because you own a McLaren F1 that costs over $20 million. You've got all of these cars worth millions. Some are even priceless. But it wasn't always like this. This is also you. You've got all of these things in your room, and outside your house is your father's 1978 Honda Accord. But there's one problem. You're 7 years old. You can't drive that. Fast forward a few years, and you're a teenager now. You've got posters of cars in your room, and all you want is a lovely Dodge. So you start learning about cars and gain a lot of knowledge doing so. Then, you're 18. You've got your license, and now all you need is a first car. But you don't have any money. It's your lucky day because your father has the big brain idea of giving you that Accord from the 70s. Perfect as a starter car. You're not disappointed. In fact, you're happy because you've got all of this freedom. You can go anywhere, do anything. So the first thing that you do is drive off of a cliff. The car is raw, bare bones almost, and honestly, it's a shitbox. Not taken care of well by your family. So you decide to show it some love and care, and now it's almost like new. Whatever, it's your car and you love it, and nothing will ever come in the way. You just had your first accident. Your first car is totaled. It's a sad day, but an expected one. Fortunately, you chose your career path well, so money is there. Enough to buy a toy Yoda. This is a 1984 Toyota Corolla, way more comfortable than your previous Accord, and it's also got more horses, 50 more to be exact. You drive the shit out of this thing every single day, put mile after mile, kilometer after kilometer, and you learn how to drive a car properly. While all of this is happening, the pockets of thy pantaloons are getting deeper and deeper. So one day, you wrap the Corolla around a tree and decide now is the time you go and get yourself something that will put you on the map. A sports car. 400 horsepower, almost quadruple that of your previous car, and it's making you feel like you've never felt before, making your toes curl. A scintillating feeling, almost like blinding bright lights. But where there's light, there's also an underlying darkness waiting to pounce. But you don't gotta worry about that, cause you are someone, my friend. But you're not that guy. You see, that guy has an E63, same Mercedes with a similar engine, but it's newer, faster, classier. Foreign. They say imitation is the best form of flattery, and you really want to be like that guy. So you get yourself a C63 because, well, you can't afford to spend that little bit extra for an E. Big mistake, you bought an unreliable car. Because this particular generation of C-Class did have its fair share of issues. Time for an upgrade. A reliable upgrade. The LC500 is a great and frankly underrated car that pushes 471 horsepower via a 5-liter V8 that sounds heavenly. It's got looks, sound, power, comfort, refinement. But you soon realize it's also got a major issue. It's a Lexus. You see, you hang around with people in Mercs who get looked down upon by those in Bentleys and Rolls Royces. But you're different. That isn't your cup of tea. What you need is a status symbol. A car that screams "F you" to everyone who's middle-aged and balding. The Porsche 911. Carrera, not the Turbo, and most definitely not the GTV RS. What, you're gonna take a car with that big of a wing to a meeting?
Bro, I didn't even slam my shit this hard though, I promise you though.
This car is perfect. You're still somehow single, but why should that bother anyone? You got a Porsche now. You're somebody. You're operating in the big leagues. And your pockets are getting deeper and deeper. The bank balance growing by the day. But that isn't the only thing that's growing. You see, suddenly, something else also grows. That's because you've got a 911, and there are thousands of 911s with track-focused versions and more track-focused versions and Grand Tours and off-roaders and poverty spec and manual pures. The only two things you can truly depend upon are gravity and greed. For $250,000, the once young car enthusiast who knew everything about cars and loved them, cherished them, buys a Huracan. With a naturally aspirated V10 engine, this is the car every influencer or rich person who has no idea about cars goes for. And you know that. This is it. Everything you ever wished for is right in front of you.
Enzo Ferrari said, "Ask a child to draw a car and they'll color it red." I think that's all you need to know about Ferrari.
In 1947, a car designed by Gioacchino Colombo with contributions from Giuseppe Busso and Luigi Bazzi was created, marking the birth of a brand unlike any other. Of course, a car of this stature needs an engine to match, so a V12 was slapped in it. It would go on to be called the Ferrari 125S. You can be a clapped-out individual driving clapped-out cars, but swap the clapped-out car for a Ferrari, and suddenly, you're no longer clapped yourself. The 812 Superfast is a car that very much lives up to its name, a superfast grand tourer that sounds unlike anything on the road. Even while doing all the pulls, gapping grandmas, and attending meetings with a beautiful Lamborghini, something's off. You realize then, this isn't enough. So you buy yourself a Maybach GLS 600, a car that literally embodies extravagance. I mean, it literally dances. Under the hood is a 4-liter V8 engine that pushes over 550 horsepower, and those horses are needed because this thing weighs about the same as these files.
I need the max win.
The top speed of this land private jet is 155 miles or 250 kilometers an hour for safety reasons, of course. Finally, you've got your supercar, you've got your statement car, and now you've got a luxury car. Add in a Rolls Royce and a Bentley while you're at it, because why not? The world is in your palms, and thus, so are certain parties. But at those parties, you notice there are a lot of people with a lot of money. And oh boy, do they know how to spend that money. That guy? Yeah, he's got around 12 cars. Oh, and that guy? He's got around 40. So the next step is clear. You need a car collection. A Lamborghini isn't enough, no way. You need 4 Porsches, Benzes, and Beamers for every day of the week and throw in an RS6 in there, why not? But why stop there? Go collect some more interesting vehicles. A Diablo, a Countach, a Testarossa, a 911 Turbo called the Widowmaker, a V8 Vantage from the 70s, and a few extra Astons added on because you are that guy. While that's going on, why don't you visit a few friends you made that run a lovely shop not too far away from where you are located. Get some restorations and modifications going, maybe even some resto mods. Life literally cannot get any better. Everything is going your way. But something eludes you. The final frontier. You've got all types of cars, but not a single hypercar. Your entire journey has been one of a come-up, a self-made man who achieves his worldly desires. What better car to close this chapter than a Bugatti Chiron Supersport? With over 1,600 horsepower, this is the creme de la creme of cars, the upper echelon. Remember those guys with great car collections? Yeah, even a few of them will be looking at you impressed. You don't buy a Bugatti to be him, you buy a Bugatti because you are him. It rings to you as you stare upon a beauty unlike any you've ever seen. McLaren. Even you, with your immense wealth, have never owned one. So why go for a P1, or a 720S, or a Senna? Why not go for their masterpiece? A car that needs no introduction. A car with a naturally aspirated V12 engine and 3 seats. The F1, considered by many as the holy grail of the car world. Less than 100 of these exist, and a few have already been crashed. It's not a car you come across ever. You open your eyes, but you're cold. You don't understand why you're staring up at all of these lights. You crash your F1. It's gone. For good. Once you're out of the hospital, you get picked up in an armored S-Class Pullman. A man of your wealth and position won't be driven in anything less than that. But as you're driven back home with your family eagerly awaiting your return, a sudden realization dawns upon you. You're no longer driving. Everything that happened, every car driven up to this point, was done so by you, and now you're being driven, just like you were when you were 7 years old. All of that to be back in the same place. All of those cars collecting dust. Garage queens, no time to drive or enjoy them. Suddenly, your collection that's worth tens of millions of dollars is worthless. The cars we drive say a lot about us, so now you proudly say you drive a 1969 Dodge Charger, because you've understood what the term smiles per gallon means.